Good morning. Next patch is coming with a new artifact set. A lot of people are going to see that new artifact set and think, oh, okay, Columbina, as we see from what we've seen of her kit, like she has a part of her kit that's focused around buffing, but the buffing aspect outside of the lunar teams isn't that strong. 33% more instances of the reaction damage isn't that good because the reaction damage itself isn't that big of a portion of your team DPS. And 40% lunar reaction damage isn't bad, but you're already getting so much that it's not that much. The main thing she's providing here is personal damage on a character that's also giving a little bit of buffs. And the new set that's coming next patch, Obeyed of Morning Star and Moon. 2-piece, 80 elemental mastery, 4-piece, when the equipping character is off-field, increase lunar reaction damage. When you're in Ascendant Gleam, increase it more. 20% by default, 60% if you're in Ascendant Gleam. You should only use this if you're in Ascendant Gleam, so it's basically just 60% lunar reaction damage off-field. Well, this is a set for Columbina, right? No, actually. This is a set for Inefa. Not for Columbina. Because Inefa just does more damage than Columbina does. Technically, you can use it either on Inefa or Columbina, or you can even technically use it on both. But very often, the situation you're going to find yourself in is, or you only have so many team slots. The support sets are very powerful, so you generally want to have all the support sets you want, and then once you have all your support sets, you start thinking about the damage sets. And so very often, you're going to need to have your Serenade that gives 120 team-wide EM and 10% team-wide lunar reaction damage on someone. And that someone is very often going to have to be in Inefa Columbina teams, one of the two. And out of the two, you would generally rather put it on Columbina. That being said, that doesn't mean the new set is not good. It is good, and you want it on your team. It just tends to do a little bit more equipped on Inefa than it does on Columbina. The copers out there that have been saving their Serenade pieces, their HP Serenade goblets with double crit, you have been rewarded. All right, this is your time to shine. And I'm a coper, so I'm very glad. I have some actual really good HP Serenade pieces, so I'm really happy about that. This new set is pretty powerful though, and very often you are going to be using it. In like the most powerful Inefa Columbina teams, I mean, that's generally going to be Flynn's, right? So you'll do Flynn's, Inefa, Sucrose, Columbina. Sucrose has to be on VV, Flynn's wants to be on Sky, and then you need Serenade on one of the other two. But if you don't have Flynn's, or if you just don't like his ass, which is, I guess, fair, there are going to be a few situations where, well, when you're trying to wheelchair with Inefa Columbina, it's favorable to just put this set on both of them and have Serenade on someone else. Yeah, actually, that's a very good point. One thing that is important to mention here is that when it comes to the Llama teams, the extra damage to Lunar Bloom that you get from Llama's Burst is not affected by your Lunar Reaction Multiplier. The stats that affect it are Llama's Elemental Mastery and the character who's triggering the Lunar Bloom, their crit. Only their crit, right? Also, obviously, resistance of the enemies. But when it comes to the stats that, like, of your team that are getting looked at, it's only Llama's EM, I suppose her Burst talent level as well, and your triggers crit, which is why this set is not very good in those Bloom teams. This set is not very good in those Bloom teams because it doesn't increase the large majority of Columbina's damage or the large majority of Llama's damage, because pretty much all of that damage is done as additive damage on lunar reactions, which just doesn't scale with it. When it comes to these wheelchair Inefa Columbina teams, really funny thing about it is that you kind of really want to use the Sky set. The carry set that came out in 6.0 that gives you 30% crit to your on-fielder. If you don't have a dedicated carry, if you're using like Sucrose Driver or something, because this set gives you a team-wide 10%, and because the crit from the set makes it better than Morningstar when it's active, your optimal way of building your team and playing your team will generally be, again, right, if you don't have a dedicated on-fielder that can use the set themselves, it will generally be to give this set to Columbina or Inefa and just swap to them relatively consistently to maintain uptime on it. As far as I'm concerned, Columbina teams can be separated in 4 different categories. Columbina Llama teams, where you're doing Bloom stuff. 2, Columbina Inefa teams, where you're doing Lunar Charge stuff. 3, Columbina Zabai team, playing Zabai. And 4, bad teams. In a Llama Columbina team that does not use Nefer for now, this is what the damage distribution looks like. 11% of Columbina's damage is Hydro. 34% of Columbina's damage is from her talent level. 55% is the quills you get from Llama's Burst. More than half of your damage is just Llama's Burst. Let's do the same thing for a Nefer team. Hydro damage. This one is just E damage. In the Nefer team, you're not using charge attacks on Columbina, so you don't get charge attack damage from Columbina, but you still get the Lunar Bloom from skill. And even here, right? The damage distribution is very similar. Obviously, when you're doing less charge attack damage, a larger portion of the damage will now be coming from the Hydro. But for the rest of it, it's still large majority Llama damage. Lunar Bloom by itself isn't a real reaction. It doesn't do anything different from normal Bloom. You need to have a character that uses those Verdant Dew in order for Lunar Bloom to do anything different from normal Bloom. And the reality is that the way that Columbina herself can use Verdant Dew, the charge attacks, just sucks. It's not very good. The only thing that can be used to make it good is Llama's Burst, because Llama's Burst effectively is doing more damage than this does. This makes team building feel a little weird, and just builds in general as well. You're starting to get a very large portion of your damage that's dictated by Llama's stat. Putting a damage set on Llama and a support set on Columbina is often going to be better, despite Columbina being the conduit for the damage, just because it cares more about Llama's stat. And without Llama, obviously you lose all the things that Llama does, but you're also getting a lot less value out of Columbina herself. All those charge attacks that she can do are pretty much worthless. The ability to generate more Verdant Dew doesn't matter because she's not using them that fast. She really is balanced around her synergy with Llama. And trying to play a Hyper Bloom Columbina team, or a Bloom Columbina team, whatever, without Llama, is kind of shooting yourself in the foot. It technically can work. In a team like that, she's not really gonna be much better than using a character like Farina. Why do you hate EU frogs? Something colonization. You're the colonizer? Nobody tell him. What do you mean by Durin skin? I feel like this is one of those times where people are saying Klugi just to bait my ass. Yeah, like what do you? I'm getting fucking rage baited. That's the same thing. What? It's just this? Like, oh, fucking congrats, man. You put on a hat or some shit. Like, okay, you want to be a little princess? Like, okay, congrats. What a pretty tiara you've put on, Durin. Like what's next? Are you gonna fucking? It's been so fucking boring. My farming lately has just been character level up books on this account, and I'm so fucking bored. God, let me do something else. Unlock every waypoint. Every waypoint is unlocked. Just don't look below. Undertale next Christmas. Okay, guys, I already played Undertale twice. Okay, you guys don't get to say, oh, fucking, like, this is not Zajef's Elden Ring. But you killed Toriel. Yeah, that fucking fraud deserved it. Notice how Toriel is a woman. Don't get rage baited, Zajef. You do have beef with a lot of women recently. Oh yeah? Name one. Okay. No, you guys can't say never. We did the fucking name 100 women challenge. You guys got on my fucking ass for trying to name fictional women. Either they count as women or they don't. You hated on your chatters, many of which are women. One, I did not hate on my chatters. To be fair, Zajef is the Genshin content creator that hates 90% of the women in game. I also hate 90% of the men in game. It's not my fault Genshin's characters suck. I feel like I have the opposite problem. I like a lot of characters and rarely dislike. Oh, my steak too juicy. You're enjoying your games too much. Fuck, I'm so sorry to hear that. Okay, man, who asked? I think your tier listing content is more boring than naming all characters. That was a successful rage bait. Let's do a tier list. Gender tier list. That meme with Whippo with the gender tier list is so fucking funny. Rate women based on how much you hate them. True. Which Genshin character is the most likely to make a 6-7 joke? Okay, no, actually, you want to know what the real hot take is here? It's fucking Venti, man. Venti would like actually be a 6-7 missionary, an evangelizer. Can't believe we're having a genuine 6-7 conversation. You're right, actually. I'm fucking sorry. Maybe we need to delete the VOD. What if we try thinking about the sort of buffs that we could see on the liyue characters if that leak was real? Alright, like, who was it? It was Xiao, Ganyu, Zhongli, and who else? Was another one. Was it Hu Tao? I have no idea what kind of buffs they give Hu Tao. Yeah, do you guys think they just make her an actual HP scaler? I feel like they would. If they buff her. Isn't that what they did with the fucking destruction characters in Star Rail? That's what they did with Jing Liu. If they give a Hu Tao like rework / buff, it has to be something that makes her like staying below 50% HP actually like something you want to do. They kind of locked Hu Tao into attack scaler with Homa. I guess that's true. Homa is a weapon that just gives attack. So they kind of can't make Hu Tao an HP scaler unless they also rework Homa, which they probably won't do because a bunch of people pulled Homa as a stat stake for attack scalers. I want Columbina, but my Nefer team is already excelling, whereas my other team options for Sijin and Abyss are weaker. Should I pull for Varesa for team comp flexibility? Or Columbina because Columbina is good? If you only have one team and you absolutely need another one, I think Varesa's gonna help you you a bit more. But in the long term, you can get Columbina and Inefa, and that's gonna help you more than getting Varesa plus someone else, most likely. Columbina is not all that good by herself. She's balanced around how broken Inefa and Llama are.